Today, we are providing a training on the hazard identification tool for workplace violence prevention for all sites. As a reminder, this is related to California Labor Code 6401.9, which requires procedures to identify and evaluate workplace violence hazards. And so this is going to be available to be able to do that at a couple of different points, both when the plan is first established, anytime there is a workplace violence incident that acknowledges that there's a potential or an alleged workplace violence unknown hazard. And if we become aware of new or previously unrecognized hazards generally in our sites. So part of this is we'll walk through the pieces here of the form that's been made available by Risk and Safety Solutions and give you some examples about how to fully utilize the tool.
All right. So the hazard and identification and evaluation form is now scoped to only program admins. So program admins would be able to see the form, initiate it, and then also go through the process of assigning an investigator to correct any hazards. We are going to go through two scenarios today. One is going to be when the plan is first established. And then, of course, there is no hazards identified with it. So I will go through the process of closing that out as the program admin. And then the second scenario would be hazards were identified and we will be assigning that to someone to correct. So I will go through those processes first. So as a program admin, when you log into Risk and Safety Solutions, this is going to be your landing page. And then if you scroll down, this is a testing environment, so I have a lot more information here, but you will just be able to see the hazard identification form as well as the workplace violence. So I will go ahead and select hazard identification. Here is a summary page in regards to what this form is about. And then you will go ahead and start the form. All right, so here's the hazard identification form and all of the different questions that are available within the form. So you are going to go ahead and designate the personnel in regards to who will be inspecting or performing the identification and evaluation form. So I will go ahead and put this as Natalie. And just make sure I clicked on hers, and she is a customer success team. All right, and then let's say her department is chemistry, and she is going to be looking at the lab.
And Christine, you had mentioned that different from the workplace violence prevention incident reporting form, that the menus here for the department and the area location are free text areas.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. So when the inspection was conducted, I did mention that the first scenario was when the workplace violence prevention plan was first established. There is a additional question that pops up in regards to the date. This is an optional field, so it is not required, but I'll just go ahead for the demo purposes. I will go ahead and select a date. And then from here, we will go ahead and review what existing policies and procedures were related to the workplace violence. We will say it was the emergency preparedness plan. Let's take a look here.
And here, for example, these are just general pieces. They won't identify specifics of your site and what for example, it doesn't say procedures and policies and procedures manual or anything like that. So they're general drop downs of potentially existing policies and procedures, but it does offer you an opportunity to write in more specifically what is the safety related program or the policy that you are referring to.
There we go. All right. And then for the workplace violence hazard inspections, we can go ahead and add in a couple of information here. So maybe education and discussion. We'll just go ahead and leave it at that. And then we'll go ahead and add an attachment. So this will search for something on your computer.
And what we would recommend here are attachments of policies or procedures that are relevant to the hazard that you are evaluating and have been identified. And so in this situation, Christine has added the injury and illness prevention plan for UCSD, because that is where she's identified some information around emergency notification procedures and processes for the campus. And so that, rather than have separate information about all of the components of that, it's referenced here in the most up-to-date version of your site's policy.
Thank you, Monique. All right, so now we come down to the inspection outcomes. So because this was just performed because of the workplace prevention plan being established, I will go ahead and put inspections complete, no further action at this time. There is an additional optional box to provide any additional comments if you'd like to, but I will go ahead and skip that for now. So then I will go ahead and just hit submit now that I'm complete. And then we do have a little summary page here, just reminding the program admins that if any hazards were identified, just to ensure that they are assigning these to the appropriate parties, so that way any of the hazards can be corrected. So as a program admin, you will go up to your programs, you will select your program here, and this is the one that I just submitted for Natalie. And because there were no hazards identified, we can go ahead and close this complete. So similar to the workplace violence incident, you would just go ahead and select complete report. And that will go ahead and complete the process. And then as always, you would be able to see the status on your overview page. So now I am going to go ahead and run through scenario 2. And this is where hazards were identified in regards to the parking lot area. So again, going as the program admin, I'm going to go ahead and start the hazard identification form. Select the form here. And again, I will just go ahead and enter in the information. We'll just do the same area, which is the lab. And then from here, we are going to say that it was after a reported workplace violent incident occurred. And then from here, say we want to go ahead and have them, maybe go over some of the policies, any of the guidelines for proper work practices and procedures. Here. And then maybe there was lighting and visibility issues because it happened in the parking lot area. Let's go ahead and choose that for now. Okay, and then for the inspection outcomes, because we did go ahead and identify hazards, we'll go ahead and enter that here. So additional questions do pop up in regards to once workplace hazards have been identified. But for this one, we are going to choose a no imminent workplace violence exists. And we'll just go ahead and say correction. And then here is the workplace violence corrective actions. Say that education provided via email, documentation of email. And who is this going to be referred to for correction? And I will go ahead and put my name. And I will do my title as well as RSS, and then I'm clicking the labs.
And in this example, the person that can be referred to for correction could be, for example, the program admin is the one that maybe is sending out the email about the education to the affected employee. The person referred to for correction may also be the supervisor or manager, if that was identified in the incident, to be able to send the information around documentation of education. And education here could be something like notifying them that there is a safety escort program on campus, or notifying them of how to access help along a particular route, or those types of things. Whatever is identified as the helpful education in this situation.
So I will go ahead and hit submit. Oops. And did I miss one? Oh, did not take my information. There we go. All right. So as Natalie, I am the program admin. I'm going to make sure that this is assigned to Christine. So I'm going to go back into my programs, hit the overview. And this is similar to the workplace violence and when you're assigning it to an investigator to follow up on. So I will go ahead and select that. I will add investigator here. So I will search for Christine since she is the one who's responsible for this. And now I am assigned to this incident. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the email notification. So this is what the email notification looks like in regards to when a hazard correction is assigned to someone. So they will go ahead and receive that email notification. So it does go to the investigator and the program admin is CC'd on the email. Again, email notifications are completely customizable. So we can always work with you in regards to changing that any way that you'd like. So then now I'm just going to go ahead and switch over. So forgive me just for 1 second here. So that way you can see it on my side. So once I receive that email notification, I'm going to go ahead and select the link in that email, and it will take me to this form. And as you can see here, I am assigned. I can go ahead and take a look at the read-only view of it, review it, make sure I understand what corrective actions need to be taken. Okay, so I need to provide documentation of email. So then what I'll go ahead and do is I will hit view, and then I can go ahead as the investigator to start the investigation. So then you have the question of have the corrective actions been addressed? I can go ahead and hit yes, and then I can describe the information as to what was taken. If I do select no, it does ask me to specify the corrective actions that needs to be addressed, and then also the expected timeline for completion. And you can assign this to multiple folks as well. So if multiple people need to be involved in regards to correcting these actions, as the program admin, they can assign it to multiple people. And of course, just like the investigation of workplace violence, until everyone is complete on their side, that's when the program admin can actually complete the report. So for this case, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, corrective actions have been addressed. Documentation. I'll just copy this one real quick. Education provided via email. I'm going to go ahead and add an attachment here. And let's just do this form. Yep. And now the Word document is available for the program admin. So now I look at it and say, yep, everything looks good. I think I have everything covered. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Oops, 1 second here. There we go. And then now as the program admin, they are going to receive an email notification letting them know that the workplace hazard investigation has been complete. And then as a program admin, they can either go to their overview tab or they can click on the link to view the report. So I will go ahead and go into the program admin view here. So here is the investigation that I just completed. I am a program admin, so that is why I can actually look at it. So then I can go ahead and take a look at what they provided and say, okay, everything looks good. You can also take a look at the attaching documents as well as download it if needed. So I say everything looks good on my side. I am going to go ahead and complete the report. So this process completes the whole entire hazard investigation or identification, as well as the correction piece of it. And then, of course, at the very end, both the program admin and the investigator will receive an email notification letting them know that the hazards identified during a recent inspection has been corrected and the investigation is complete, so no further action is required.
So a couple of things, what Christine just walked through was also that you'll see that the inspections are complete, and then you'll be able to see that within your own area too, about which hazard identifications are completed and then by whom has completed them. So that complete shows that they're closed out. But it also will allow, if new hazards are identified or reported, you can, as a program admin, come back here and see which new ones will need to be completed, or if there are some that are still under investigation. You can decide what works for you for your campus on what that closure period looks like. We recommend closing them as soon as possible to make sure that we don't have inspections that are left open. So we do want to get to that complete phase, but the two-step process allows for, if needed, more than one person to be able to review the inspection and confirm that the inspection has been completed. The other piece is, this is just an option for you that we've provided to allow you to create a system for yourselves around the hazard identification and inspection portion of workplace violence prevention. This is one tool that you can use, but we encourage you to create processes on your campus or site that are relevant for how your sites work and the information that you need to collect. So this serves as a place and an opportunity for you to really start from what are the existing policies and procedures that are already available to the site to review with regard to how workplace violence is getting mitigated on your site. So I think those are all the pieces. Any other things?
I'll just add here, Christine, do you mind sharing your screen one more time?
Oh, sorry.
If you run into any issues or you need further support from RSS, like let's say you're trying to submit and it doesn't work for whatever reason, or if you have some questions about the system itself and not actually kind of the policies of how it works, you can choose the question mark in the top right next to your initials, and that takes you to our help area, where we do have some kind of helpful hints and tricks loaded up. And if we're not able to answer your question, if you scroll down, you can submit a ticket to our service desk or give us a call and get some support over the phone. Thank you.
Thank you.
For additional training materials, visit our training website at riskandsafety.com/training. If you need assistance with any of our software solutions, please contact service@riskandsafety.com.